little stand here.
What's going on, everybody? Sam Dog, the infamous 253, with Dallas Stewart, and special guest with my buddy from up in north of the border, Anish Kumar, and I got my dad, Bill Strader, who I go to all the Seahawks games with. And this is a special stream because, well, now we basically are talking about a few days ago with the official end of an era. The Russell Wilson era in Seattle is over, along with the Bobby Wagner era in Seattle. And man, what a fun 10-year era that was of those two on this team. Dallas?
Yeah, it was. A lot of great memories.
Yeah, and a lot of special plays too. I mean, favorite memory about Bobby Wagner, Dad and I were just saying earlier on the phone, Bobby Wagner was such a great locker room guy and great all-around team player, and his presence on that defense is going to be missed, that's for sure. What do you think, Dad?
Well, you shoot over to Anish. Anish, why don't you comment on that, buddy?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Obviously, he's such a leader, leader in the locker room, leader of the defense, right? Pretty much, so many memorable moments with him. 10 years. I mean, we basically were at every single home game other than the pandemic season. But every game he brought it every day on the field, and such a great player and future Hall of Famer, and just one of the best players we've ever had.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, for sure.
Anish, to me too, he was, I can't hardly recall a stretch in that 10 years when he wasn't playing. He showed up every game. He was reliable. He was a great guy in the community. The thing I always noticed about Bobby Wagner always took the mic after the game, win or lose. He was just a stand-up guy, a high-character guy, no excuses. He never threw anybody under the bus. He always took personal responsibility for his actions. He's just the kind of guy that I don't care what he would do in life. He could be working in my job. He's just the kind of guy that you look up to, you respect. He's a leader. He's going to be successful in whatever he does in life. But that's what I think about Bobby Wagner. When I think about Bobby Wagner, at the end of the day, I think of class. And, he will always be a Seahawk. And quite frankly, when Bobby Wagner goes into the Hall of Fame, I plan on being there at Canton to watch that happen. So that's a trip I'm gonna make.
Yeah, we're definitely making that trip when that happens, Dad. That's for sure. But I'll tell you what, I think one of my favorite all-time Bobby Wagner plays that I've seen throughout his career, one of my favorite plays I would have to say was his 98-yard pick six against the San Francisco 49ers in 2018. When you think of some of Bobby Wagner's top plays, that pick six is one of the plays that stands out the most.
Yeah, I don't really have so much of a standout play. Is more just the fact that he was there every down. And you know what? And the thing is, I was a tackling machine.
He
had over 100 tackles. I think he had over 100 tackles every season.
Almost every season.
All-time leaders in tackles. So to me, it's not so much that any one thing stands out. It's that in the whole context, everything that he did, the fact that he was there day in and day out and so durable through that whole 10-year period. I mean, and think about this, guys. He's a linebacker. He is taking on running backs. He's taking on defensive linemen every game, taking on all that hitting, all that smashing, and just I can't even imagine what he had to do to get his body ready for the season and in between games. But he showed up, never griped, and did his job. And, I'll tell you what, there's a lot to be said for a guy that's, had that kind of durability, reliability at that level for that amount of years in this kind of a game that just chews people up. It's just amazing what he accomplished.
Yeah, and not to mention that he had 6 first-team All-Pros, and he went on a stretch where he got first-team All-Pros 5 years in a row. I don't think that's something that will ever happen again in Seahawks history, to have a linebacker like that, first-team All-Pro 6 times, but most importantly, 5 straight years, back-to-back years on the first-team All-Pro list.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that, Anish? Dallas?
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. How durable he was. time here.
Yeah. Anish, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's just such a great player. He's such a presence on the field, and like I said, one of my memories is in Super Bowl 49 picking off Tom Brady. I think that was a awesome play. That
Oh
he had.
yeah,
He had a
That was
great
an awesome play. It's just unfortunate how it ended, though. Too obviously, me and my
Let's
dad.
not
were
talk
there.
about that, Sam. I don't want to get into any bad memories.
Yeah, I
But
feel you on that.
that
We're all
interception,
positive here, man.
that
Yeah,
interception was great.
That
Wagner
was
made a
my
great jump
mind
on that
enough.
play too.
I don't need to. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, Wagner made a great jump on that. I also got to think back to the strip sack, to the scoop and score he had against Indianapolis in 2017 too. Just so many great plays, and then the way he busted out in 2012 with the plays he made. I still remember one tip play that we had. Remember the 58-0 game against the Arizona Cardinals? Walter Thurman tipped it up, and then someone else got a hand on it, and I think it might have been either KJ or I know it was Thurman, and Bobby Wagner managed to pick it up. It was a play to Larry Fitzgerald. I think they got blown up by KJ Wright, and Thurman tipped it up, and Wagner intercepted it. And that, to me, I think that was what started the epic blowout that we pulled on the Arizona Cardinals in 2012. And I'm talking about the 58-0 game.
Yeah, that they had like 7 turnovers that game. It was, you know what?
yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a part of me. I still believe the Seahawks should have had 3 Super Bowls. When you mentioned that particular game, if we would have taken that field goal against that Atlanta team in the playoffs, I think we would have beat San Francisco that year because, man, we were playing in Russell's rookie year down that stretch. We were playing the best football in the league. And, man, our defense was rolling. But, yeah, those 3 games, I think it was Buffalo, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. If you remember those games, we waxed those guys, man. We were playing some great ball that year, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And the Buffalo and Arizona games, it was the first time ever that a team had gone back-to-back weeks putting 50 burgers up.
Yeah.
That game was in Toronto too. The game in Buffalo.
Yep. Not to mention that game was played on Canadian soil. Now, speaking of that, the other guy, Russell Wilson, the once-in-a-generation quarterback that we got in the first round. I'll tell you what, when I think of great Russell Wilson performances, I think back to that game in freaking Toronto, that game where we played against the Bills in Toronto, where we had that first 50 burger. To think that Russell Wilson, I think that's when he truly started using his mobility and taking it in. Like 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half of that game. That, to me, was one of my favorite Russell Wilson performances because he became the first quarterback in NFL history, I think, to have 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half of a single game. That Toronto game was incredible to watch Wilson perform the way that he did. That was one of his best performances of his career, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. He just lit them up that day. On the ground, through the air. He was just unstoppable that game in 2012 against the Bills.
How about the
I
shootout?
remember his rookie year, the game-winning drive in Chicago.
Oh,
Sidney Rice for the game.
That was big. That was huge, man. That was a real turning point in the whole season.
It was. It was a turning point game in that 2012 season.
yeah, season on the line. I remember Wilson went to the guys after that with the overtime. It's like, all right, guys, season on the line. Let's get it. Crazy drives. I remember because Chicago tied it up, going in that overtime. I think we hit some plays to Tate and then just getting down. I remember Sidney Rice took a whack on that touchdown catch too. Like it looked like he got knocked out, but he was still able to freaking get the ball across the plane just before he got hit to win the game. And that's one of the drives I always remember, especially when we had to face Brian Urlacher in like the final prime years of his career. That was, I think 2012 was Brian Urlacher's last year too. And Brian Urlacher was after that game.
I got a funny story about that whole season. Who was that quarterback that Chicago had? That guy always whining all the time.
Jay
Cutler. Okay, so there was this guy came up to me. He was a Chicago Bears fan, and at that time, I think Chicago was like 7-1 or something. They were doing pretty good that year, and we were like 4-4.
We lost.
And he goes, he's always talking about, you Seahawks fans, you guys are just happy with mediocrity. With us Chicago Bears fans, he goes, we expect to win Super Bowls. I said, you know what? I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I know we're 4-4 right now, but I said, I think we're going to really start turning things around. I said, we got this young quarterback, and I think we're really going to make a move. I said, the guy you got, you're never going to make it to the Super Bowl. Your guys aren't going to even sniff another Super Bowl with him. And I said, you know what? We may not win one this year. We may not get in the playoffs this year. But I like our future. I like our guys. I like John. I like Pete. And you know what? I'll take my chances of what you guys have any day. Well, we ended up finishing 11-5. Didn't get to the Super Bowl. Won a game. But the year after that, we did. And Chicago, well, where the hell they've been?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Where the hell has Chicago been lately?
Well, one thing I want to add is my favorite, Russ, we were blessed to having, a generational type quarterback, one of the best to ever do it. And, we're grateful for everything he did for this team, for the franchise, the community, for everything, because he's such a great player, such a great person. But for me, that 2012 season, the game that kind of stood out as far as him becoming what he kind of became, that kind of solidified what he ended up being, was the game at home against the New England Patriots, against Tom Brady's first appearance in Seattle, because he didn't play in 2008 because Matt Castle played, if you recall.
Because Brady tore his ACL.
Yes, that's right. And that felt like a playoff game. That really felt like a playoff game. We were down, but then you know what? We came back. Braylon Edwards got a touchdown. And if you recall, with about 2 minutes left, or just under 2 minutes left, Russell threw that great ball
that
to
dime to Sidney Rice right in our end zone, Anish, right in our end zone. I remember
we were there for it, and it was a great victory. That victory felt so good, and that for me kind of solidified what Russell Wilson is, and what we had ourselves a heck of a quarterback and a heck of a steal when we drafted him that year.
There were a lot of standout games from that 2012 season.
Know what?
Another one.
I'm real quick on what Anish. I agree, Anish, because it. What it did is it set the tone for what he was going to do after that. I mean, how many game-winning drives, that we, at that point in time, we knew we were never out of it.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how bad it looked, and it looked pretty damn bad in that NFC Championship game against Green Bay.
Yeah.
But we weren't out of it.
No.
And you're right though. But that kind of set the tone for how things were going to be for a really, really good stretch. You're dead on right. I love that. Great comment.
Yeah, and then also another game that stands out to me is because the game before that, Patriots game, I think that was the infamous Hail Mary game.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I remember just crazy how it was with the final seconds. We were down 12-7. I remember also early in that game, the first half, our defense had sacked Aaron Rodgers like 8 times in the first half. I remember that. And then just thinking, oh my gosh, but just the way it was, I was thinking good game. It was a hell of a matchup, just the way that we were in it. And Green Bay was looking to win. And then Russell Wilson does that crazy throw, gets blown up by Clay Matthews, and then Golden Tate gets it simultaneous with I think it was with Tremont Williams, who was the defender on that play. And just thinking about that play was like, oh my gosh, wait, what happened? Oh my God, did Golden Tate come down with that for a touchdown? It's like, holy crap. And then it's holy crap. I remember I'm with Jeremy right next to him and just thinking, did we freaking just come down with that ball? And I remember just thinking with that play, oh my God, it's did we really just win the game on that play? And it was hilarious that freaking
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
I got a quick funny story about that one. So there's a guy used to be my boss, and he was kind of complaining. I said to him in an email, and it was actually a Facebook comment that night. I said, well, what is it? The referee strike just ended.
The replacement ref. Yeah. Got rid of the replacement ref.
Right. Yeah, got rid of the replacement ref.
Yeah, the referee strike just ended.
Yeah, and then I also remember something.
The next day it was done.
Yeah, and then you know what else was funny about that? I remember a story where you once said, for a lot of times before Russell Wilson, when we gotten screwed on some pretty bad calls in recent history, I remember you told me once, you said to someone, hey, after the way we got screwed in Super Bowl 40, after all the times we've had bad screw jobs go against us, hell, we deserved one to actually go our way for once. I remember when you said that, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another game. I don't want to even think about that game. I can't do that without. I need severe anger management training anytime I think about that Super Bowl. You know, when I think about the ultimate Russell Wilson highlight, honest to God,
Green Bay
you know what?
NFC Championship.
That game, that NFC Championship game, there's two moments that stand out to me. And that the one before that, the NFC against San Francisco, but first the Green Bay game. You know what? That was, to this day, Russell Wilson's worst 3.5 quarters of football he ever played. I never saw such a pathetic, and everybody forgets Curse had a pretty damn bad game too.
He did.
But
Most of those
then we
interceptions were
get
placed on the
that
curve.
fake punt to touchdown. Then we get that onside kick. And you
Well,
know what?
before the onside kick,
Fans
Russell had a touchdown.
are just freaking out. It was the noisiest, most ruckus crowd. Then Marshawn gets the run. Then we
And
get
then Wilson does
Hail
the
Mary 2-point conversion.
to Luke Wilson.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Yeah,
And
if we didn't get that 2-point conversion, Green Bay
Rodgers
could
goes down. He gets the field goal. We go to overtime. We get the flip, and then off to Curse we go. I mean,
Yep.
it was freaking that was the most unbelievable, like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I was mind blowing.
And then
It was
it's
just freaking
that we won that game in 6 plays in overtime. I think we did a couple. We hit Baldwin on the 5th play. I remember to get the big first down, and then freaking after that, then we had to do. I remember Wilson said, "Get ready for the check. Get ready for a check to run check 50," because he knew for a fact that Green Bay was going to bring everybody up to try to thinking that it was going to go to Marshawn. Green Bay thought that the ball was going to Marshawn for a run, and that totally exploited their secondary, and that's when we hit the home run ball right to our end zone to Curse to send us to the Super Bowl.
Speaking of another play along those lines, I got to tell you this. This is a funny story. So Nish, in the San Francisco game, this is true story. San Francisco game. So on the famous, what was it, 4th and 5, 4th and 7, something like that.
Yep.
And I told Tracy, she's next to me. I said, I can't look. I put my head down. I'm going to let the crowd tell me.
4th and 7.
My head's in my lap, and then all of a sudden, I said, what happened? We scored.
I remember thinking.
I
Keep
couldn't
in my
look.
mind.
I had to see the replay. I couldn't watch it.
I remember that play too. I was thinking to myself, because we had House out there for a minute. We called time. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, why the hell are we going for this? Like, why are we going for this? And then all of a sudden, the penalty flag comes out, and we got the snap. I'm like, oh my gosh! And people are like, free play. Wilson airs it out. Jermaine Curse catches it, touchdown, and we take the lead off of that. And it was like, oh my gosh! I remember the crazy moment that Jeremy had during that, and just like, no way. I'm like, we really just got that on a free play, and it was like, holy crap! I just remember we were going nuts all the way up until the final drive. And you were saying win by, what were you saying again, Dad, on that final drive?
It was win by 6, lose by 1. Hey, you
win
know
by
what?
6, lose by 1. Win by 6, lose by 1. And then Sherman gets the tip, and we're up to the Super Bowl.
If we were to sit back and all of us think about top 10 plays in Seahawks history, I mean, that one's got to be in there somewhere in that top 10. I mean, it just got to be. That was,
we got to get in those top plays.
It was ultimately the play that gave us the margin, because if we didn't get that, they could have kicked a field goal.
Yeah.
You know, if we end up scoring a field goal, they could kick a field goal, right? So
yeah, one of the things I look back on that was after the Navarro Bowman injury was that we should have never tried. Granted, I know the whole controversy on that where Bowman stripped it and that too, and we were lucky they didn't give it to us. I would have, and I know we gave them the ball back after that play when we ran it on 4th down, Marshawn Lynch, and Lynch fumbled it. What I would have done it. I think better to have avoided it would have been to kick a field goal after that moment, take the easy 3, because then after that, I remember Cam Chancellor got the interception, which set up the field goal, which made it 23-17. But
it could have put the game out of reach if we had kicked the field goal earlier.
Yeah, but still, I remember but yeah, if you're talking top plays, that play to freaking Jermaine Curse, that's at least number 2 on top plays. Is 4th and 7. Number 1, obviously, the game winner to freaking Curse in the NFC Championship. Number 3, I would have to put the game-winning pass to Sidney Rice. If I'm talking about top 5 plays, number 3 would be the pass to Sidney Rice when we beat the Patriots.
That felt great. That was awesome. that game.
Number 4, I would have to say the play he made on Thursday Night Football against the Arizona Cardinals in 2017, the game where we lost Cam Chancellor and Cliff Averill and Richard
I was
Sherman.
at that game. That class.
Where he did all those pirouettes and looked like he was get sacked, and then Baldwin was supposed to be blocking that play. Wilson hits Baldwin, and Baldwin takes it all the way down to the 5-yard line before we hit Jimmy Graham for a touchdown on that game too.
Hey Sam, I got an idea. One of the things and I'll tell you about this real quick. If you ever watch, like for instance, like those pregame shows with Jim Brown and all that, what they do is they'll go out, he'll talk, next guy talk, next guy talk, next guy talk, come back, go out. So why don't we give Dallas and Anish some opportunities to share some memories? Maybe I'll share some, come back to you, and we'll kind of rotate it through, so we have an opportunity to hear from some of the other guests on your show. So
yeah.
So Dallas, why don't you share a couple memories, and we'll turn the mic over to Anish for a little bit here.
Yeah, well, yeah, you guys mentioned some pretty memorable ones already. Yeah, probably also, I guess in 2012, when we had the wild card game when we were down by like 14, and then Russell got it going and we rallied from a 14-0 deficit. It did not look good the first half of that game. We came out really sloppy, really sluggish, and we ended up dominating them the rest of that game. That's kind of a memory from Russell and Bobby Wagner's rookie season that I remember, that wild card game at Washington. Also, when we blew out Dallas the rookie year, and Golden Tate laid that hit on Sean Lee, just cracked him. I remember that hit. I remember that too. That's another game I remember from that season, that 2012 season.
Yeah, it was Wilson's home debut too.
Was it?
Yeah, that was his home debut.
Anish, what about you, man? What are some of your memories over the last decade here? What stands out to you?
There's been so many memories with Russ and B-Wags, right? I mean, there's so many moments, so many great victories. I mean, we were there together for pretty much all of them at home. One of the games, actually, it was probably a road game that I remember the most, would be the game during the 2016 season where Sunday Night Football, we went into New England for the rematch. And that game, it was a game that it felt like we had something to prove that game, that, we had to go in there and we had to win that game on the road against Tom Brady, who, was pretty much unbeatable at home for most of his career. And to go in there and Russell out-duel Brady, check this out, and I'm sure you guys know this, Brady didn't even throw a touchdown pass that game, if I recall. We held him off from throwing a touchdown pass. Russell had 3 touchdown passes that game. All of them to Baldwin, if I'm not mistaken. He had 3. And B-Wags played incredible that game as well on defense. And the defense stepped up at the end and won that game for us. 31-24, I believe, that game on Sunday Night Football. That was a phenomenal game that Russ played, and so did B-Wags. And I think that's one of the games that just stands out for me. There's so many games and so many moments. And
another moment from
2016, that was my win of the year.
That 2020 season, so the pandemic season, the 95-yard game-winning drive against Minnesota. I still can't believe they completed that drive.
Yeah, I remember I was watching that outside with Big Low over at Al's Gourmet, thinking, I cannot believe, and Dad and I were saying Mike Zimmer was dumb for freaking running that play on 4th down.
Yeah, when he should have just kicked a field goal, it would have iced the game. Or no, it would have made it an 8-point game where we would have needed.
But he also didn't kick an extra point that first half. I mean, they should have been up 9-0. Mike Zimmer lost Minnesota that game.
Yeah.
End of freaking story.
And didn't Chris Collinsworth say?
You know what? I'll say this: Pete Carroll lost us the Atlanta Falcons game in that playoffs.
Yeah.
3 times they tried to punch that sucker in.
Yeah.
You guys there?
Yeah, we're there. I just put it on full screen for you.
Yeah, 3 times they tried to punch that in with Marshawn. They could have kicked a chip shot field goal. And at the end of the day, that field goal, Sam and I said at that time, I said that you just mark my words, that field goal is gonna come back and cost them. But now on the other side, on the flip side of that, if you guys recall how Russell led us, I think 3 straight touchdowns in that second half to be back in that game and take the lead. So that was also a memorable game. You can't blame Russell and the gang for losing it.
No,
some poor defense on the backside, and it's so much they were just playing soft. But the fact of the matter was, we should have taken that damn field goal. But that was a memorable game. It's one where I do remember Russell again doing his thing, getting us back into the game, and we really took over that second half, and we should have won that game. And that was sad. I really think to this day, at the end of Russell's rookie season, we were playing some of our best ball that we have ever played in the last decade, and I really think that set us up really quite well the next year. And what people forget a lot is in our Super Bowl run, we had a lot of games we probably should have lost. We probably should have lost at Houston. We were getting our butts kicked by Tampa Bay at home. There was a lot of close games that we pulled out. But man, again, end of Russell's rookie year, I didn't think anybody wanted to play us in the playoffs, man. If we got past Atlanta, I think we would have beat San Francisco, and I think we would have went to the Super Bowl and beat Baltimore. But it didn't happen, so it is what it is.
It set us up for next season,
I also remember another game. I remember in the 2018 season, and Brandon Rogers has brought this up. I remember the game against the Carolina Panthers that we played at Carolina. Just a close back-and-forth battle. Yeah. Russell Wilson and Cam Newton. And I remember, and this is another one of Wilson's top plays, 4th and 3. I remember thinking, what the heck are we doing? I think we were in field goal range at the time, that we could have freaking gotten back in the game, winning a four-point game, and I don't know how far back we were. And I remember thinking, okay, what the heck are we thinking about doing? Like, just get the first down. We don't need to go for it all. I remember thinking, and then I see Wilson throw. I'm like, what the heck are we doing throwing deep? And then all of a sudden, David Moore catches it with the defender. I'm like, oh my God, he just tied the game. It's like he hit David Moore, and we tied that game in Carolina in 2016. I was like, oh my gosh, that was one of Wilson's other best throws, too. One of my favorite plays from Russell Wilson.
It was one of your top 3 wins.
And it was one of my top 3 wins that year in the 2018 season. I think that Carolina game, and that might have been after we beat Green Bay, which basically got us back on track to get into the playoffs in 2018. I remember that play to David Moore, and then Carolina gets the ball back. They get downfield, and we make a key stop, and then Graham Gano misses the field goal, and Wilson throws the bomb to Lockett to set up Sebastian Janikowski for his second buzzer beater.
Yeah, because we said the Green Bay Thursday night win in 2018 was the game that saved our season. Well, I think the 2 games before that we lost to, like, the Chargers and the Rams.
Yeah,
we lost to the Chargers at home and the Rams on the road, and we were on the verge of. We got off to a dreadful start in that game because Chris Carson fumbled it and was like 14-3. I was like, it is not looking good. I did not think we were going to pull that one off. That was a game that really turned around our season in 2018.
And then one of the best Russell Wilson games I've ever been to. There are a couple other ones. When we're talking about other top Russell Wilson performances, I got to go back to 2015 with the shootout that we had against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
the 5-touchdown game for Russell Wilson. 3 touchdowns to Curse, and 2 of them the ball went, and just Russell and Ben were going back and forth. Like, it was a pretty crazy back and forth game. And then I remember the play. We were up, I think it was 31 or 32 to
30, I think it was.
32 to 30, I think.
Yeah, we were up by like a safety.
Yeah, by a safety. And then we're going on that drive, and Russell Wilson hits Baldwin. Baldwin breaks the tackle and takes it like 80 yards to the house to make it a 9-point game. I remember that play where we beat Pittsburgh, that long touchdown to Baldwin in that game. That was, to me, that was one of the other great shootouts.
Yeah.
One of Russell's 2 shootouts I remember. And then the next one I remember, and this was the game where Pete Carroll gave me the jersey. And I remember, Dad, you were on your way because Tracy, you said Tracy got tickets from her boss to that game in the Hunt family suite in Kansas City for the Monday night game between the Chiefs and the Broncos that night in Arrowhead Stadium, and you were flying out, and then Wilson had the epic shootout against Deshaun Watson, where that game pretty much got us going when Earl Thomas had the pick six. But I just remember Deshaun Watson was a rookie year, and I just remember how Watson was hitting DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller and some of his other targets when Hopkins was on Houston, and they were just carving up the LOB that entire game. But then Wilson was hitting strikes, so like Paul Richardson had some touchdown catches, and then I remember Wilson throws an interception in that game, and then Houston, I don't know why they weren't keeping it in the air and why they didn't do a pass, and then hand it off to Lamar Miller, and we got the third down stop. We got the other chance. Kevin Harlan did that game, and then Wilson hits a couple big plays to like Tyler Lockett, and well, first it was Paul Richardson, then he hits a play to Lockett. Lockett just runs with the ball, centers it, gets forward pretty quick. I thought we were going to spike the ball, and then Wilson hits the game-winning touchdown pass to Jimmy Graham, and we won that game like 41-38. That to me was, if you're talking about high number performance, that shootout with Deshaun Watson was one of my all-time favorite Russell Wilson performances ever in history, when he and Watson went back and forth that entire game.
You know what? I think sometimes for me, I don't always recall the details. I look at more things from a macro perspective. From a macro perspective, and I remember Sam. I remember when we lost the Super Bowl, because you were there at that game, and I remember you kind of not feeling so hot. And I remember telling you, I said, the last 3 years, we're in the playoffs, won a Super Bowl, and at a Super Bowl. You can't, and this 10-year run, you know what? I'll say this. People look back at this, and the thing that we can say is we got to be there probably during the best era of Seahawks football period. Yeah. Probably, I hope we get another one of these eras, but guys, you can't count on it. Ask the Detroit Lions.
Exactly.
Ask
the Cleveland Browns.
Sam, hang on. And so that's what I was getting. It's just that, I just want to sit back and say, you know what? I'm appreciative. I'm appreciative for the fact that Russell came here. Kept us in every year pretty much. In the playoffs, him, Pete, and John, and Richard, and Cam, and Bobby, and all those others. But that's my thing from a macro perspective. Memory is, that it really is the Russell Wilson era. Pete and John, it's their era too. And you know what? And I'm glad for the ride. And I'm glad to have been able to enjoy it with our friends in section 122. It's a great place to be. It always has a great spirit there. There's a lot of love in that section. And, that's, to me, that's what I remember. It's just being with you, Sam, being with friends, being with family. And you know what? I just feel blessed to have that as a part of my life. And you know what? It's memories that we'll always have together. We'll always share together. And that's what football is really all about.
It really is.
It's that, it's the ability just to, it builds, football is family to me. I love that. As football fans, we can all be passionate, and we all know how each other feels. And I wish in life and the rest of the world would be more like football fans.
Yeah.
Galvanize around a common cause. Yeah. Because when you think about all the people that go to those games, the different peoples from different backgrounds, but when we're all there, we're just fans, man. We're just fans, right? And I think football can show people how to have life.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful for the experience, and I'm thankful to be able to share it with my extended family, the family of football. And Anish, I appreciate you being a part of that family.
You as well.
Being seeing you and the friendship that you've given to Sam and myself, Dallas, you as well. And I'm looking forward to whatever the next decade brings us, And Sam, Anish and I were chatting yesterday, just so you know. We need to plan our road trip, right, Anish?
Yes, absolutely. That has to happen. Yeah. Absolutely.
And this I would just impart. I got to head out, guys. I will impart this upon you more than anything else. You know what? Cherish the times. Hopefully we'll get them back. But most of all, cherish the relationships. Hey, I got to head, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks
and
again.
I'll catch you all guys later on. All right.
All right, bye, Dad.
cheers,
Love
Sam.
you.
Thanks,
Sam,
man.
thanks for having me. Love you too, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dad.
Bye.
All right. Now you know something. Another play that when you go back to Russell Wilson top plays, and I don't think this one gets mentioned quite enough. How about the play in the freezing cold playoff game in Minnesota where we got the snap pass right by Russell and the ball went, and Russell did like that baseball move going back to the ball and then managed to scoop it up and hit Tyler Lockett, and Lockett got it inside the 5 for that first down before hitting Baldwin for that touchdown. That's another great play that stands out to me in the Russell Wilson era is that freezing cold game in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a great game to win that game. I mean, what a tough game that was in the cold weather, and the way the offense and the defense played that game, and the way to get that to drive down to get the game-winning field goal. Sorry, at the time, actually no, not the field goal. To end it, how the game ended with the field goal miss. The way the defense played was just incredible. The way everyone played, especially B-Wags, and everyone on defense played. But one game I just want to go back, if you don't mind, was back in 2018. A memory for me personally was the game on Sunday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs, where we went head-to-head. Well, Russ went head-to-head with Mahomes and back and forth. And that was a great game overall to win that game because, if you recall, Kansas City was, up and coming. They were the next. Mahomes was the guy. He was MVP of the league that year. And Russ really played really well. He went toe-to-toe with him and helped win that game. The offense played well. Like Baldwin, that touchdown pass he had, I believe, in that game. It was such a great game and a great performance by him. So
what about the touchdown pass to Ed Dixon in that game too? Because I remember before I told Dixon that he was going to get a touchdown that game. I think Dixon kind of caught it in a crazy way with his arms crossed, and just it was kind of crazy how he caught it. I remember I think that was the touchdown that basically daggered the game, or that might have been the touchdown pass to Baldwin that daggered that game. I have to look back in the highlights.
Yeah, we were one of Kansas City's 4 regular season losses that year.
And then when you look back to that New England game that you mentioned earlier in 2016, I think that year Russell Wilson was the only quarterback to beat Tom Brady in 2016. That was the year that obviously Atlanta choked the 28-3 lead to the Patriots in that Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 51. That was Super Bowl 51 year.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Wilson beat both the Super Bowl teams
because New England's only other loss he said was at home against Buffalo, and it was a shutout. And he said Garoppolo was starting that game.
I think no, it was Jacoby Brissett.
Was it Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, because Garoppolo got.
Oh yeah.
But it would have been that year. So.
And then
we swept the entire AFC East that year.
We did.
Yeah, we did. I believe, yeah.
And now another game we got to also look back on too. If we're talking for favorite Russell Wilson performances too, we got to go back to a game you were at, Anish. I mean, I wanted to be at this one too, but we got to go back and reminisce Super Bowl 48.
Yeah, that game was. I was fortunate enough to be there at that game. It was obviously the best game I've ever. Well, best road game, best game I've ever been to. But we all, we're so appreciative of that run that season, and to get to the Super Bowl, to culminate to win the Super Bowl at Super Bowl 48 was just incredible. Everybody was such a team effort. Everyone played well. Defense played well. Offense played well. Russ played well.
Russell
Wagner
had like 100. I think Wilson had 100. Had a 123.1 passer rating in that game. He just wasn't missing on. Now I know everybody always says, "Oh, it's the defense and everything." I mean, granted, true, the defense had one of the better performances of that game too. But everybody needs to remember this: Russell Wilson made plays in that game. He hit the passes that we needed to get downfield to set ourselves in position to score. Thankfully, granted that we didn't score touchdowns on our first two, that we had Steven Hauschka as our kicker to kick those field goals after Cliff Averill got the fastest score in Super Bowl history on the first snap. But I'll never forget the touchdown pass to Jermaine Kearse when he did like the pinball moves, the spin moves, and then of course and Baldwin for the dagger. But seeing Wilson hit all those passes to almost every receiver on the sideline. My favorite pass in that game was the play where Baldwin just torched Hall of Famer Champ Bailey. Remember that play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was such a. There were so many moments in that game.
There were so many crazy games
everywhere.
Yeah, and definitely I would put that. I mean, people think I would put Super Bowl 48 at the number 2. I mean, and the 49ers NFC Championship at number 3. Thinking, why would you put the Super Bowl at number 2? Because there were much more epic performances, in those NFC championships that were just as more epic as that Super Bowl. Because obviously we blew out Denver in the Super Bowl. Now, ironically, Russell's going to be playing for the team that he helped us blow out in that Super Bowl. But
Sam, there's one game I want to add. I got to add this game in. One game personally, I was very fortunate to be at, and I was able to be there live for it. And that was during the 2019 season, facing the Niners on Monday Night Football. Basically, they were like 8-0. And we won that game in overtime, and that was just an incredible game.
Yeah.
Russ, the way he played that game to set up that game-winning field goal, just that game was just incredible to be at. Just the way the whole team came together and to win that game, and to win that game on the road in Santa Clara, and beat the Niners, at home. That felt great that night, and I'm sure you felt the same way.
That was our top win of the 2019 season.
Yeah, Dallas and I did our top 5 wins that year, and we put that game absolutely at the top. That was the unanimous win of the 2019 year.
Yeah,
nothing topped that game, especially after. I mean, I know Russell threw the interception to Greenlaw, and then McLaughlin 9-ironed it, and then we had it was just back and forth, and then to win it on the final seconds of overtime, setting up Myers for that kick.
Yeah, that game got over at like 9:00.
Yeah, I think I went to
game.
It went to the final seconds of overtime.
And then I dropped the epic video because we were the first freaking team. We were the first team to freaking beat San Francisco that year.
That's one of the best games I've seen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we ended our undefeated season, which made it sweeter.
Yeah,
and I think we got down like 10-0 early.
Yeah.
We had to rally, and our offensive line did not play well that game.
They did
Nick
not.
Bosa was killing us. Nick Bosa was killing us that game.
Yeah, that was a great win for us.
Yeah, it really was a great win, and then another crazy game. How about that comeback we pulled against the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, in 2019?
Same season, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
The comeback we pulled against Cleveland.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, granted, it was 4 Baker Mayfield interceptions, and then Wilson hitting Jerron Brown twice for touchdowns, and Tyler Lockett had some of the big catches. He didn't have a touchdown. We thought he did, but he was 1 yard short, but it still set up Chris Carson.
Mm-hmm.
And then our defense got the which got us the lead, and then we had the big interception, and then that was pretty much it in Cleveland. And then you got to look back to one of the great Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf performances of that same season, 2019, the playoff game in Philly. Granted that we only scored 17 points and beat Philly 17-9 for the second time, but Wilson and Metcalf had a crazy connection in that game, and Metcalf was only a rookie, set the rookie record for a rookie receivers playoff debut. I think he broke Jeremy Maclin's record. It was just that insane of a performance. I'll never forget that performance. Granted, it was low scoring, but Wilson and Metcalf were just on fire.
When we beat Josh McCown.
Yeah, after
Carson Wentz got hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was pretty much at the end of Carson Wentz in Philadelphia.
Pretty close.
Pretty much.
He had one more year after
One
that.
more year, yeah.
And now he's on Washington.
Then he got benched the year after.
Yeah, what do you think, Anish?
Just as far as the just overall, it's just this whole it's going back and just think about all the memories that that we've seen, just like what your dad alluded to. I just keep going back to that as far as how grateful we've been to see this era of football, right? Over the last 10 years. And it's just how we witnessed the Holmgren era and Matt Hasselbeck era, how how they turned around when they got here to Seattle, right? When they got to the Seahawks, how they turned it around from and won and Sean Alexander, and then we had the rebuild, and with Pete and John coming in, and we had this 10-year era. It's how we've had a pretty good run. We could say that we've had a pretty good run for the last 20 years when you think about it. I mean,
the Holmgren Hasselbeck era.
we can't look past that. I mean, they won 5 division titles, and they took us to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and
03
they
to 07, what, 5 in a row, 5 division titles?
Yeah,
04
well,
to
not 5 in a row, but they won 5 in total, I believe.
Oh,
So
04 to 07, yeah.
04, 05, 06, 07, and then 2010. Well, Holmgren left by then. Holmgren was gone.
2010 was Pete Carroll's first year, and then we got Marshawn Lynch on the epic Beastquake game when analysts didn't even give us a chance in hell against the defending Super Bowl champs.
Hasselbeck, yeah, he had 5 division titles, so that he was part of 5 division title teams, right? So we've had some great eras, and this is some great.
2003, I think, was the turnaround year in the Mike Holmgren era.
Yeah,
because we were pretty bad in the first part of the 2000s. We weren't very good. I think 2003, it fueled that wild card loss to Green Bay. Kind of fueled those division title runs the following years when we lost that heartbreaker to Green Bay in 03.
Yeah, that we went to Paul. We're going to score a game. Hasselbeck going to pick 6 to Al Harris. Like, hey guys, you remember when we went undefeated at home for like 5 to 6 years or something like that?
What years were those?
Well, I remember 2 years we went undefeated at home: the Super Bowl 40 year and Russell Wilson's rookie year.
Another great game I remember from the 2019 season was the Thursday night game against the Rams, the shootout.
Oh, yeah, the 2019 season where Zerline missed the kick, and we honored Paul Allen, putting him on the Ring of Honor. And you know something? All these memories also, when you look back on it, that we have as Seahawks fans, diehard Seahawks fans, those memories would not have been possible if Paul Allen did not save the team and got our awesome stadium built on that vote. I mean, God bless Paul Allen up in heaven. He gets all the praise for this. And all the memories that we get as fans, it's all because of him when he saved our team.
Yeah, this will be the 20-year anniversary of Lumen Field.
Yeah.
2002 was their inaugural season.
That's right.
And I was there. Granted, I was in the upper section a few years before I got season tickets when Sean Alexander had the 5 touchdowns in the first half. I know you were there too, Anish.
Yeah, I absolutely remember that season.
Yeah, regular season game against Minnesota. Sean Alexander had 5 touchdowns.
Was that also the year where T.O. signed the ball on Monday Night Football? 02?
Yes, it was that season. Yeah,
I remember that one.
Time flies. It doesn't seem like 20 years ago, but it is.
Yeah, I can't believe the stadium's been around that long, and so many great memories in that stadium.
Oh man.
Yeah, it has been, but we're ready to make some new ones, obviously. So it's that's the good part.
Well, and all I gotta say for this, is that thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you, Russell Wilson. Thank you, Bobby Wagner, for your contributions to the Seattle Seahawks. All you did in this 10-year run, and whatever happens next, I hope for you guys that the sky is the limit. And thank you for giving us all these memories, and thank you for giving us for helping contribute and giving us our first Lombardi trophy.
I'll be forever grateful for what they did for our franchise and our city, Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson.
And one of these days, they are both getting gold jackets and going into Canton, Ohio, and I will be there with my dad, definitely, for the Bobby Wagner run. And I'm definitely intending on going for Russell Wilson, too. But also, we'll be there. I know, Anish, you and me will be there, and hopefully if I can get Dallas in, we'll be there hopefully for a Ring of Honor and number retirement night of Russell and Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, whenever that is.
Yeah, definitely can't miss that.
It's like he took me to the game last year when Hasselbeck went into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that just absolutely. I was so upset I couldn't be for that because the whole border restriction stuff that was going on.
Oh yeah, and late October. Yeah, it was the game
right
before Halloween.
Yeah, the game right before Holmgren got on the Ring of Honor too.
Yeah, that's just
the first game Sam took me to was 2018 when Seabass swept the Cardinals. Essentially,
that's right, because Seabass beat the Cardinals 2 buzzer beaters in Arizona.
The Josh Rosen year, and when they won and done Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
We had 2 thrillers with Arizona that year. It was 20-17 and 20. I think it was 27-24.
Yeah, it was 27-24.
Did he hit Lockett on like a deep pass to set up that game-winning kick by
Sebastian?
Sebastian Janikowski. Almost said Hauschka.
Yes, he did.
Hauschka was gone by then.
Yep. Another great memory for that too. But, anyway, we've been on here for about close to 50 minutes, and I gotta say, Anish, thank you for coming in and doing this with
me,
man. And thank you guys for coming into the stream. I know I wasn't really trying to do shout outs in the chat because I wanted to keep it towards my primary people that I had here for the stream. But hey, end of an era. Let's make some new memories going on, and let's go hit this rebuild hard and refix all the trenches and maybe get our new quarterback this year, maybe next year. And regardless of it, it's go Seahawks for life, man. It's go Seahawks for life. Anyway, we'll catch y'all later. If you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. And as always, go Seahawks. Anish, go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. I hope to see you. I hope Sam's able to take me to a game and I'm able to see you at a game again.
Yeah, we will. We definitely have to. Absolutely.
All right. Catch y'all later. Peace out. Go Hawks. And we'll catch you in the next video. But thank you, Russell Wilson, and thank you, Bobby Wagner.